So welcome to my video on how to use JAMOVI. When you first open up JAMOVI, this is the window that you're going to see, and you can see that at the top we have variables, data analyses, and edit. And down here we have a spreadsheet, and then we have a space over here on the right in which the results of any analysis we do will appear. What we're going to do today is we're just going to simply set up a very basic data file. We're going to use a very simple hand entry method. In some coming videos, I'll explain how to open a file, how to download from Qualtrics, and so on. So let's go to the variables tab, and you can see that this is the framework that comes up. I'm going to use just two different variables. One variable is going to be a grouping variable. The other variable is going to be a measurement scale. So let's think of a very simple situation. Let's say I want to compare two writing classes. One class is a meaningful literacy class, which means that they do a lot of work on personal writing like autobiography, autoethnography, poetry writing, story writing, family histories, that sort of thing. And in the other class, we have a class which is a regular 101 composition class. And in that class, they're doing a lot of literature search, research writing, something of that sort. So let's create that first variable. So I'm going to click over here where it says A, and I'm going to type in class type. So that's what I'm going to call this variable. And then I'm going to give a description. This is the type of class that a student learns in. The second variable I'm going to create is a measurement variable. What I'm interested in is the degree of anxiety that students have in relation to their writing at the end of the class. I'm going to use a very simple 5-point scale, 1 being no anxiety and 5 being a lot of anxiety. So let's name this variable anxiety. And let's give it a description. And the description of this variable is the degree of anxiety that a student feels on a scale from 1 to 5. Okay, so I now have two variables. Now I'm going to go to data. Now, as you can see, when I open up the data, I have two variables here. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to enter in some data. Now I have a spreadsheet next to me, and I'm just going to enter it in by hand. But as I said, later on, I will show a video how you can open a data set. Usually we don't enter data by hand, but rather download it from Qualtrics or some other source. But first, let's deal with class type. Now, you can only enter numbers into the spreadsheet, but the numbers we can later translate into names, and I'll show you how to do that. So I've got 10 people in the meaningful literacy class. We'll call this 1. So put that in there. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. So I have 10 students in my meaningful literacy class, and then I have 10 students in my 101 class. Okay, so you can see I've got 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. The 1 represents meaningful literacy, the 2 represents 101. Now, it's good that I put numbers, but I'm not going to remember the numbers, so there's something else I need to do before I move forward. If you click on class type, you'll see that it's a double click. You see that it opens up this text box, if you like. with the name of the variable, class type with the description. What sort of measure is this? This is what sort of data is this? Well, in this case, it's nominal data, right? It's naming data. So I want to keep it like that. Now, here is where I've got the number 1, which represents meaningful literacy class. So let me put that in, meaningful literacy class. And 2 is my 101 composition class. Okay, now see what happened here? Now I have a name, meaningful literacy, and that's the number of that designates this class, and this is number 2, which designates this class. Okay, let me check that I've got everything right. This is a nominal data. This is the name of the variable. I've named the values of 1 and 2. I think I'm good. Okay, now anxiety is a scale from 1 to 5. So let me just put the data in. So for my meaningful literacy class, and I'm just copying off my data set. And that's the data for my meaningful literacy class, my 10 students. These are the scores I gave. And this is the scores for my composition class. Okay, now here as well, I should double click on this. It opens it up. I don't need to give levels because 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 are just ratings, right, on what they gave. But I do want to change the measure type. This is continuous. This is not nominal data or ordinal data. This is continuous data. And I think that's it. So let me check. So I've got different levels of continuous. So of course the levels disappear. Anxiety. Okay, so we're good. Okay. Now let me look back at my data set. So what do I have here? I have, you can see already the name of the variable. So 1 and 2 has now been changed because I defined it. These are the meaningful literacy class. This is the composition class. And here I have the anxiety ratings that they gave. Please note the following thing. We read across the scale, across the spreadsheet like this. So what this means is that student number 1, who was in a meaningful literacy class, gave a rating of 3 on his anxiety scale. If we go down to 11, student number 11 was in the composition 101 class, and he gave a rating of 2. Student number 20 was in a 101 composition class, and he gave a rating of 3. So we read across the data set. So this was a short video just to show you how we create a data set, a very quick, brief understanding of how to work with JAMOVI. And in our coming videos, we're going to see how we continue this work. Okay, thank you, and I'll see you in our next video.